Holiday Tournament of 2021 event by Colton Dennis. Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever Holiday Tournament. We have 3 wonderful matches tonight. And the winner will become the very first Holiday Royal Prince of JDW. I can't wait for these matches. 4 competitors for each match. 2 will advance for the main event, where we'll crown our very first Holiday Royal Prince, said announcer number 1. I can't wait. And with the 8 competitors that are competing, anyone could become the Holiday Royal Prince, said announcer number 2. That's right, and I just got a message here from the owner of JDW. He just announced that each match will now be a elimination match. Oh, how will all of this play out? Asked announcer number 1. I hope it plays out well. And now we will head to the ring for some action, said announcer number 2. Beldings. This match is scheduled for one fall. Is a semi-finals match for the Holiday Royal Prince tournament. Introducing the competitors, the Tormentor, the Scout, Damon and the Anaconda, said announcer number 3. Beldings. All 4 men attacking each other. Well, here we go with the first round of the fatal 4-way elimination match, said announcer number 1. I can't wait to see what happens here, said announcer number 2. I think we're about to right now. Look out, said announcer number 1. Both announcer number 1 and number 2 move. The Scout gets thrown over the announce table. The Tormentor, walking around the announce table, grabs the Scout, then punches him. Damon punching the Anaconda. The Anaconda leaning against the ropes. Damon chops the Anaconda's chest. The Anaconda groans. Damon bounces the Anaconda off the rope, then bends over. The Anaconda kicks Damon's chest. Damon groans, stands up, then turns around. The Anaconda locks in a sleeper hold onto Damon. Damon waving his hands around. The Anaconda jumps onto Damon's back. Damon, walking around the ring, slows down, then falls onto his right knee. The Anaconda smiling. Damon stands back up, lifts the Anaconda up, then drops him onto the mat. Both Damon and the Anaconda groaning. The Tormentor slides into the ring, then clotheslines both Damon and the Anaconda. The Anaconda rolls outside of the ring. The Tormentor grabs Damon, puts him into the corner, then continuously punches his sides. Damon continuously groaning. The Tormentor whips Damon hard. Damon goes into the opposite corner hard, then falls onto the mat. The Tormentor smiles. The Scout appears, then rolls up the Tormentor. 1, 2. The Tormentor kicks out. 2, said referee number 1. The Scout stands up, then gets clotheslined hard. Trying to sneak up in me. Try it again, said the Tormentor, kicking the Scout. Damon stands up. The Tormentor looks at Damon, then runs towards him. Damon dropkicks the Tormentor's left knee. The Tormentor falls into the second turnbuckle. Damon looks at the Tormentor, stands up, runs, bounces off the ropes, then jumps at the Tormentor. The Tormentor gets hit with Damon's knee, then falls onto the mat. Damon stands up, then walks towards the Tormentor. The Anaconda appears behind Damon, jumps onto his back, then puts a sleeper hold onto him again. Damon struggling. Oh, not. The Anaconda has just puts Damon into another and quat, serpent's bite, and quat, said announcer number 2. Damon might not have much let in him. He already had one put onto him, said announcer number 1. Damon falls onto his left knee, then onto the mat. Referee number 1 grabs Damon's right arm, raises it, then lets go. Damon's right arm falls. Damon's eliminated. said referee number 1. Damon has been eliminated, said announcer number 3. Well, now we're down to 3 competitors, said announcer number 1. There was no way Damon could have gotten out of that, said announcer number 2. I agree with you there. Now back to the action, said announcer number 1. The anaconda. Continuously getting punched. The scout bounces the anaconda off the ropes, then does a spinning heel kick. The anaconda groans, then gets covered. 1, 2. The anaconda kicks out. 2, said referee number 1. The scout picks up the anaconda, sets him up for a suplex, then lifts him up. The anaconda lands onto his feet behind the scout, jumps onto his back, then puts a sleeper hold onto him. The scout, struggling, then waves his arms around. The tormentor stands up, runs, bounces off ropes, then clotheslines both the anaconda and the scout. Both the anaconda and the scout. Groaning. Who's the man? Huh, not them. I'm the next royal prince, said the tormentor, grabbing the scout, picks him up, lifts, then slams him onto the mat. The anaconda gets picked up, lifted, then slammed onto the mat too. The tormentor goes to the corner, then jumps onto the second rope. Oh, the tormentor is looking for and quat, tormelbow, and quat, said announce number 2. The tormentor jumps off second rope. Both the anaconda and the scout move. The tormentor's elbows land onto the mat, then he groans. Oh, that's gotta hurt the tormentor, said announce number 1. The tormentor continues groaning. Stands up, then gets clotheslined a few times. The scout lifts up the tormentor, then slams him onto the mat. The tormentor groans, slowly stands up, then gets kicked in the side of his head. The scout looks at the tormentor, goes through ropes, climbs turnbuckle, does a shooting star press, lands onto the tormentor, then covers him. 1, 2, 3. The tormentor is eliminated, said referee number 1. The tormentor has been eliminated, said announcer number 3. The scout smiles. The anaconda jumps onto the scout's back. The scout, struggling, then waves his arms around. Looks like the anaconda is gonna be moving on, said announcer number 2. The scout falls onto his right knee. Referee number 1 grabs the scout's right arm, lifts, then lets go of it. The scout's arm stops falling, then starts shaking. The anaconda shaking his head. The scout stands up, looks, then runs towards corner. The anaconda's head bounces off the top turnbuckle, then falls onto the mat. The scout groans, looks at the anaconda, then drop kicks him. The anaconda falls, then stands back up. The scout bounces the anaconda off the rope, then does a spinning heel kick. The anaconda falls, then gets covered. 1, 2. The anaconda kicks out. 2. The scout stands up, then waves to the anaconda. The anaconda turns around, gets kicked in the side of his head, then falls onto the mat. The scout goes through ropes, climbs up the turnbuckle, gets to the top, then does shooting star. The anaconda moves out of the way. The scout lands onto the mat, groans, then slowly stands up. The anaconda jumps onto the scout's back, then puts a sleeper hold onto him. The scout, waving his arm around, drops to his knee, then onto the mat. Referee number 1 raises the scout's right hand, then lets go of it. The scout's right arm falls to the mat. He's out. Ring the bell, said referee number 1. Bell dings. Here's your winner, the anaconda, said announcer number 3. The anaconda raises his arm, then hisses. Well, the anaconda moves on to the final round, said announcer number 1. Yeah, but you have to give it to the scout. Almost had it, especially With that shooting star press, said announcer number 2. Yes, all 4 competitors were great. But the Anaconda moves to the finals. And up next is the second Fatal 4 elimination match, said announcer number 1. Let's hope this is a great match. Just like this one was, said announcer number 2. Bell dings. This match is scheduled for 1 fall. And it is the second semi-finals match. Introducing the competitors. The Punk, the Bodyguard, the Jackal and the Mongrel, said announcer number 3. Bell dings. All 4 men attacking each outer. Here we go with the second match of the semi-finals, said announcer number 1. I really hope the Jackal doesn't win this match, said announcer number 2. Anyone could win this match. You know that, said announcer number 1. The Bodyguard is really taking it to the Punk, said announcer number 2. Yeah, he is. As the Mongrel and the Jackal fight on the other side of the ring, said announcer number 1. The Jackal punches the Mongrel. The Mongrel knees the Jackal in his stomach, bounces him off the rope, then clotheslines him. The Jackal rolls out of the ring. The Mongrel turns around, then gets clotheslined hard by the Bodyguard. Man, the Bodyguard just knocked down a 250-pounder with a clothesline, said announcer number 2. Especially for a man of his size can do. But he also can move, said announcer number 1. Yes, he can. And we're about to see it here, said announcer number 2. The Bodyguard bounces off ropes, then does a suicide dive onto the Jackal. The Jackal goes into the barricade. The Bodyguard yells, then turns around. The Punk slingshots himself over the top rope, then lands onto the Bodyguard. The Punk climbs onto ledge of ring. The Mongrel punches the Punk, then sets him up for a suplex. The Punk gets lifted up, shakes his legs, then lands back onto the ledge of the ring. The Jackal stands up, grabs the Punk's legs, then pulls him down. The Punk falls onto the floor. The Mongrel gets hung up onto the top rope, falls onto the mat, then holds his throat. The Jackal slides into the ring. The Mongrel turns around. The Jackal kicks the Mongrel in his stomach, then sets him up for a powerbomb. The Jackal is looking for and quat. The Jackal knife and quat, said announcer number 2. The Jackal lifts the Mongrel up, does a jackknives powerbomb, then covers him. 1, 2, 3. The Mongrel's eliminated, said referee number 2. The Mongrel is gone. We're down to 3 competitors, said announcer number 1. The Jackal stands up, laughs, then turns around. The Bodyguard clotheslines the Jackal hard. Huh, you think you're better than me, do you? I'll show you what a real man can do to a coward, said the Bodyguard, picking up the Jackal, then does a hard Santo. The Jackal's head bounces off the mat. The Bodyguard covers the Jackal. 1, 2, said referee number 2. The Jackal kicks out. How'd the Jackal kick out of that? Asked announcer number 2. I have no idea. Usually that puts people away for the Bodyguard, said announcer number 1. Oh, looks like he's going for it again, said announcer number 1. The Bodyguard picks up the Jackal, then does another hard Santo. The Jackal rolls outside of the ring. The Bodyguard needs to look out, said announcer number 2. The Punk appears on top turnbuckle, then does a crossbody onto the Bodyguard. The Bodyguard falls, then gets covered. 1, 2. This Bodyguard kicks out. 2, said referee number 2. The Bodyguard clotheslines the Punk hard. You want to play with the big boys? You want to? Asked the Bodyguard, setting up the Punk for Insanto. The Jackal slides into the ring with a steel chair, then holds it. No, 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 said Referee number 2 grabbing steel chair from the jackal then turns around. The bodyguard drops the punk. Turns around then looks at the jackal. What are you gonna do now? Asked the bodyguard. The jackal kicks the bodyguard in his testicles. The bodyguard falls to his knees. The punk bounces off ropes then does a shinning wizard onto the bodyguard. Both the jackal and the punk cover the bodyguard. Referee number 2 turns around then lays onto mat. 1, 2, 3. The bodyguard's gone, said referee. The bodyguard has been eliminated, said announcer number 3. Well, we're down to the punk and the jackal, said announcer number 1. Kick his ass, punk, said announce number 2. Both the jackal and the punk look then other lock up with each other. The jackal bounces the punk off the ropes then gets shoulder tackled. The punk runs, bounces off ropes then jumps over the jackal. The jackal stands up, then hip tosses the punk. The punk flips then lands onto his feet. Both the jackal and the punk look at each other again. Man, these two are almost the same, said announcer number 1. Yeah, but at least punk has honor. Jackal doesn't, said announcer number 2. The punk bounces the jackal off rope then goes for a heel kick. The jackal holds onto the ropes. The punk lands onto the mat then groans. The jackal drop kicks the punk, lays on top of him then continuously punching him. 1, 2, 3, 4. The jackal gets off the punk then smiles. You have a 5 count, said referee number 2. Shut up, said the jackal picking up the punk then sets him up for a powerbomb. The punk moves, lifts the jackal onto his shoulders then does a Samoan drop. The jackal groans then rolls out of the ring. Get out of here. Go on, said announcer number 2. The jackal grabs a water bottle then squirts it at announcer number 2. Announcer number 2 falls out of his chair. The jackal throws the water bottle at announcer number 2 then turns around. The punk slingshots himself over the top rope again, then lands onto the jackal. Hey, are you alright? Hey, you okay? Asked the punk. Yeah, said announcer number 2. The punk grabs the jackal then throws him into the ring. The jackal rolling towards other side of the ring. The punk slides in the walks towards the jackal. The jackal rolls outside of the ring. The punk waves his hands. The jackal pulls out a steel chair from underneath the ring. The punk puts his head between ropes. The jackal swings the steel chair. The steel chair hits the punk's head. Ring the bell. The jackal's disqualified, said referee number 2. Bell dings. Here's your winner by disqualification, the punk, said announce number 3. The jackal looks at referee number 2 then slides into the ring. Disqualified. Disqualified. Are you kidding me? Asked the jackal. You used the chair. So you get disqualified. Now, get out of here, said referee number 2. The jackal growls, looks at the steel chair, picks it up, turns around then swings it. The punk gets hit in his head again with steel chair then is busted opened. The jackal smiles. Crowd booing. The jackal laughing, pats the steel chair with his hand then rolls out of the ring. Oh man, the punk can barely stand. He just got hit with 2 chair shots by the jackal, said announce number 1. See, this is why I didn't want him to win the tournament. Who knows what he would have done as the holiday royal prince? Asked announcer number 2. Well, now we have the doctors checking on the punk. But we still have to do the match to finish this thing, said announcer number 1. The anaconda appears running down the ramp. Oh, now here comes another snake, said announcer number 2. The anaconda slides into the ring, stands up, then looks at the punk. Back up, said referee number 2. Can he fight? Huh? Can he fight? I'm here to fight. Come on, said the anaconda. The punk, slowly moving, grabs the ropes, tries standing, then collapses onto the mat. Oh God, I never actually seen this in person before. And it's all that bastard Jackal's fault, said announcer number 2. Wait, hold on. I just got a message. The owner says, since the Jackal ended up doing this, we must declare the anaconda the winner of the tournament, said announcer number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just received word. Since the punk is unable to fight, we must call this match a forfeit. So, your winner and the first ever. The lights flicker, then turn off. People screaming. The lights turn back on. Wicked appears in the ring, then stares at the anaconda. The anaconda hisses at Wicked, then goes to punch him. Wicked spits a black mist into the anaconda's face. The anaconda, screaming, then turns around. Wicked grabs the anaconda by his throat with both of his hands, lifts him, then does a falling double-handed chokeslam onto him. The anaconda groans. Wicked looks at the punk, slowly walks towards him, grabs his right arm, then drags him towards the anaconda. The punk covers the anaconda. Wicked goes through middle ropes, walks towards announcers. Number 3 then grabs the microphone. This match never started, so ring the bell, said Wicked. Bell dings. Referee number 3 lays onto the mat. 1, 2, 3. Ring the bell, said referee number 3. Bell dings. Here's your winner, and the very first holiday royal prince. The punk, said announcer number 3. Referee number 3 raises the punk's arm. Punk looks, then sees Wicked. Wicked staring at the punk. The lights turn off. People screaming. The lights turn back on. Wicked's gone. Oh my God. The punk has won the tournament. He's now the first ever holiday royal prince, said announcer number 1. After what we just witnessed with the Jackal, and now this ending, we have to thank Wicked for helping out the punk, said announcer number 2. Oh, we definitely do. Because now, the punk is the royal prince, said announcer number 1. The punk appears next to a prince outfit, smiles, then grabs scepter. People clapping. Congratulations to the punk. And we say farewell to you again. But come join us again. Good night, everyone, said announcer number 1. See you next time, said announcer number 2, waving. The punk appears sitting in the throne, smiles, then raises the scepter. Crowd cheering. The end.